Nissan Skyline R34 GTR. Is it any good?
It doesn't get much more iconic for PlayStation generation kids like us than this, a Bayside Blue V-Spec 2 that sounds a bit like this. Is there a chance that it's overrated though? Have we all spent too long on Gran Turismo and Need for Speed to the point where we've put the Skyline on too high a pedestal? I'm using today and this road in Devon to find out. But first, back to this morning when I picked up the car from Torque GT.
Something we cannot ignore when sussing out whether the R34 is overrated or not is the price of these cars nowadays. This one right here, this V-Spec 2, is for sale here at our good friends Torque GT for £140,000. I was too young to ever be aware of where these cars bottomed out back in the day, but Tristan, the owner of Torque GT, has said he bought an R34 for as little as 18 grand. Nostalgia bites so hard with cars like this. That price is so spicy. What will blow any Japanese car fans' minds is there's essentially an R34 Skyline wall over that side of the showroom, the chief of them being the V-Spec 2 NER over there on the right hand side with its carbon fibre bonnet. There's no way we're going to be allowed to go in that today, but they do go more extreme than that. Nissan made 18 Z-Tune cars. Those are essentially 500 horsepower race engine cars from factory. Those things are going to be the 250 GTOs of the JDM world. Because of the value of this car, what I'm not going to do is go full Lewis Hamilton with it. And by that, I don't mean driving it flat out around a Grand Prix track. I mean driving it like this. What I'm also going to try and avoid is doing this. Okay, come on, let's have a drive. I had a quick chat with Ben Collins in preparation for driving this car, just to get his vibe on it, considering he was a Fast and Furious stunt driver. And his answer, I guess, was quite predictable for a racing driver. He said, yeah, they are quick, but they've got too much grip for him. He's more of a rear-wheel drive Superman. He likes a pointy, feisty car. But the engineering that's gone into this car, the Atessa four-wheel drive system and the high-cast four-wheel steering, all of that is meant to make the car very quick, but also stable through the corners, maximising grip. That is what I'm into. I like to feel like a car's hunkered down to the tarmac, locked in, so I can see a corner, judge my entry speed, and then just settle it in. I don't want to be fighting a steering wheel. I'm just not that kind of guy. I like knowing that some Nissan engineers have gone to town on this car. Oh, you've got to rev it. You would think in a twin-turbo car that you let the turbos do all the talking, you let the torque take over. It's just not the case in one of these. You've got to rev it. You've got to use those over-square pistons to get that horsepower going.
The turbos take what feels like a full second or two to spool up, so you can get on the power early, and even once they start to spin up, you can let the systems keep you locked into the corner before being slingshotted out the other side. Because of those dynamics, one of these versus a 996 911 turbo would be one hell of a dust-up.
What's quite unique for a GT sports car is that the pistons are over square. That means they're fatter than they are tall. That makes the engine really revvy compared to the 2JZ. May mean there is a lack of torque compared to other engines, but it can maximise horsepower through revs. Does this car feel like it's got 276 horsepower? Not at all. That whole gentleman's agreement is a load of rubbish. easily over 300. Easily over 300.
Today's video is sponsored by Zen Market. If you've ever wanted to buy rare JDM cars, or even Pokemon cards, Japanese snacks and clothes, but you're not in Japan, don't speak Japanese, and the store won't ship to your country, then Zen Market is an easy way to get your desired products from Japan, with 19 languages supported and trusted by over 2 million users worldwide. You can buy from 10,000 Japanese stores, add them to your Zen Market basket, and then pay for your products and international shipping. Zen Market will order the products for you and ship them to your house. You can purchase rare JDM parts from stores such as Super Autobacks and Yahoo Auctions through Zen Market, or simply copy the item link and paste it into the Zen Market search bar to shop from stores not integrated into the Zen Market website. You can buy super rare stuff only sold in Japan, like a Tom's Racing Team front bumper for your Toyota Corolla. Click the link in the description below to register, and we've put another link to take you straight to shopping for rare JDM parts. Account registration is free, and you'll get 750 Zen points free when you use the promo code DRIVETRIBE, which can be used as 750 yen off international shipping. Click the link in the description below to register, and happy shopping for rare JDM parts.
So what makes the RB26 engine so amazing then? Well, to start with, let's use this engine's full name, the RB26 DETT. That stands for RB, just an internal engine code, 26, 2.6 litre, D, dual overhead camshafts, E, electronic ignition, TT, twin turbocharged. This engine was found in the R32, R33 and R34 Skyline GTRs, and it's always compared to Toyota's 2JZ engine. What do they have in common? Well, they're both straight sixes and they're both comfortably over-engineered. If you ask Nissan, they will say that they kept to the gentleman's agreement of 276 horsepower. But really, these engines were designed for 600 horsepower before we have to start mucking about changing the block and modifying the internals. The RB26 is a cast iron block with an aluminium head bolted on top, and this is what is called a closed deck block. That means the material, as much as possible, is kept around each cylinder rather than being machined away to have big cooling jackets. Instead, the passages are much smaller for the coolant oil and the cylinder head bolts, meaning the block is much stronger and you can go big on power. Then you add in parallel turbochargers with ceramic bearings for good heat dissipation, got forged crank and forged conrods, you've even got oil passages in the piston crowns for cooling, and sodium-filled exhaust valves. It's all trick stuff. Despite all of that trick stuff, at the end of the day, it's a simple straight six, which means I imagine you have great access to it. Paul, you work on these cars day in, day out. What is a Skyline GTR like to work on?
These ones, not too bad. Obviously, I've done quite a few of them, so it's not really an issue. But, you know, a lot of people look at them and go, well, it's quite complicated, but, you know, they're all right once you get your head around how everything works.
And what's happening with this one? It does look modified. And really, I mean, how many cars come through the Torque GT gates that are still absolutely bone stock? Have they all had this form of treatment to them?
Yeah, rare. We do get the odd ones that are completely standard, but it is rare. Most have modifications in some way or form, yeah.
And what's this packing?
This one, hard to say exactly, but I think the customer's looking between 5 and 6.
And that doesn't take too much work, right? That's
not greatly, no. Obviously, between like the factory and 400's really easy, and then between 4 and 5, you start putting a bit of money into it, and then obviously after that, you're looking at forge builds, turbo replacements, and stuff like that.
And the rumor is that they kept the gentleman's agreement, but the rumor is the actual factory engines could get up to like 320. Is that about right?
Yeah, quite easily. Yeah, with, like I say, with minimal mods, you could just change the exhaust and an air filter and get it easy 320.
Well, we'll leave you with this then. We won't distract you anymore. Good luck.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's face it, the RB26 DETT is an engine Nissan built to go racing with, and they did. And they won. A lot. totally transforming touring cars and endurance racing in the process. So think of this engine more as a massively detuned race block, rather than a road engine which just so happens to have ridiculous potential. Aside from the engine though, where has the hype come from for the R34?
The R32 and R33, they're the older cars, and the R32 is the original Godzilla. Why isn't that the most expensive Skyline? The Skyline family seems to have bucked the trend of the original oldest one not being the most expensive, like the E-Types. Series 1 most expensive, then Series 2, Series 3. So why, despite the R32 being the original Godzilla, does the R34 pip it? Well, considering how mechanically similar all three of those generations are, it has to be down to two things, and those are the Fast and Furious franchise and, of course, Gran Turismo. The Gran Turismo games made the R34 a halo car for an entire generation, maybe even generation and a half. Once you saw it on your little TV screen with your PlayStation plugged in, it was suddenly the car of your dreams. The Nissan engineers did an amazing job, but really, the hype for this car has to come down to polyphony. Kazunori Yamauchi, you are the man. You're the man that has started this whole craze, really. I would like to throw a third factor into the mix though, and that is our American YouTube cousins. They've recently gone a bit mad for these cars. TJ Hunt's got one, Adam LZ's got one, Jimmy Oaks has got one, Larry Chen has recently bought one. Now those cars, they've managed to slip through the import net into the US through some loopholes, but the US is about to go stir crazy on Skylines because as of 2024, the R34 Skyline is now becoming legal in the United States. It's going to be Skyline mania. I've heard rumours there are warehouses full of these cars that have just sat waiting for essentially that embargo to lift, and then they're going to get straight on the boat. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a boat right now heading from Japan to the States full of R34 Skylines. So really, are these things overpriced? Well, I'd go as far as to say, right now, as you are watching this, it's the cheapest an R34 Skyline's ever going to be. So if you're going to get one, now is the best time. Despite the pricing, if you really, really want your dream Gran Turismo car, you may as well stump up for it now, because it won't be long until we're looking back at 140 grand Skylines thinking, God, do you remember when they were that price? Look at them now. So, in answer to the title of this video, is the R34 GTR overhyped? My genuine answer is no. If anything, it's still slightly underhyped. We have yet to reach peak Skyline hype, which is a scary thought, considering this car is maybe putting out 320 horsepower. It's not going to be the quickest thing on a track day, but none of that matters, because you know that under your right foot, you've got an RB26 DETT, you've got an all-wheel drive system, you've got four-wheel steer, and you've got the most legendary car from the most legendary car game of all time. If you've ever wanted a Skyline, get it quick. The Americans are coming.